Welcome back to North Wales and a series that has been showcasing some of the best scenery from well-known hiking trails like the Glyders to Snowdon, to paths through abandoned mines and quarries, allowing us to see the area's heritage. We've also explored some of the coastline on Anglesey, taking in gorgeous lighthouses and a ruined brickworks. We've also got use out of our National Trust membership, having spent the day surrounded by a blaze of colour in Bodnant Gardens, and another day completing a National Trust's circular walk, which took in a gorge, a pretty village, and more remnants nodding back to the area's industrial past. During our trip, I tried to indulge in as much traditional Welsh food as I could muster, and in today's video, I'll be taking you on a DIY Welsh food tour. Having made it up to the top of Glyders here in Snowdonia National Park, it seems like a great place to stop, replenish some of the calories that I've used up to try and get up here. And this is going to be the first of my Welsh food tasting. So I've got here a slice of Bara Brith, picked up a loaf at the local supermarket. Bara Brith, when translated into English, Bara means bread and Brith means either speckled or mottled, which probably comes from the fruits that are within the bread. What makes this bread special is that the ingredients are soaked in tea. So when I smell it, it smells almost Christmassy. It reminds me like a little bit of Christmas cake. And whilst I was at the local supermarket, I also picked up some Welsh butter. So I've just put some butter on the top. So apparently that is how most people consume this. So let's give it a go. That is delicious. I know most people hate it when food gets described this way, but I would definitely say that this is very moist. And it's got a really nice sweet taste to it. There's an ever so slight hint of the tea, of the breakfast tea. I've come along to a cafe in Llanberis and I've decided to order the Welsh Rarebit. It's something that's even got etymologists scratching their heads as to where the name came from, because originally it was called Welsh Rarebit, but at no point was a rabbit ever an ingredient part of it. If we were to simplify it, it's in essence cheese on toast, but it can be jazzed up by adding things such as mustard, paprika, sometimes even beer into it. Now, on the menu it didn't say what kind of Welsh Rarebit this was going to be, so I'm quite excited for it to turn up. I can taste it and find out for myself. I think it's probably because the cheese is different to what I make at home or what I use at home when I just do a standard cheese on toast. But that's really, really nice. It's got like a definite tang to it that I'm not familiar with. I don't think they've added anything else in, maybe beer, but not like the cayenne or the paprika. But that Welsh Rarebit is lovely, really, really creamy, very rich, and I think given me the calories that I've wasted so much on when I've been hiking over the last few days.
Having come to Aber Falls, I brought along some snacks from the supermarket, so at the same time having picked up the Bara Brith, I've decided to pick up some Welsh Cakes. These ones, unlike the Bara Brith which came in a loaf and I had to slice up, these come individually sized, so to me it's almost like a biscuit. It's like you have a packet of them and you can just take them out, and similar to the Bara Brith, I've also buttered this with some Welsh salted butter. The Welsh Cakes, you can obviously see it with the butter on that side, but the Welsh Cakes are made out of flour, butter, eggs, currants and milk, and unlike a scone which has a similar level of ingredients to it, those are baked in an oven, whereas these ones are cooked on a griddle. So I'll dig in, see what it's like. It's definitely less rich than the Bara Brith. The sweetness from the fruit isn't quite as strong, and I think that's because this is predominantly made up of the flour and the butter and milk and so on, whereas there's just like a little bit of fruit, whereas the Bara Brith seems to be jam-packed full of fruit. And naturally, because of this to me is a little bit more dry You would definitely need butter on this. I personally wouldn't have it without butter. I don't think I would enjoy it at the same point of how I'm enjoying it right now with butter on. What's interesting is that you can eat these either hot or cold. Obviously I'm having it cold at the moment because I've bought it as like a packed lunch, but I would be very interested to know what these are like hot. But I'm really enjoying it. I just assumed it would be really, really similar to Bara Brith, but it's not. They are definitely very unique between the two. I'm going to keep on eating this.
The other dish that I'm going for here is the lamb burger, which is very traditional to Wales. In the UK, only 41 foods have got what's known as a PGI, which is a protected geographical indication, and it just helps to stop there from being unfair competition or from other people coming along with inferior products trying to pretend that it is the product that is the best, hence the Welsh Lamb. So I figured whilst in Wales, one of the things that I have to try is definitely lamb. I saw lamb burgers on the menu. I just thought, let's go for it, let's try it. And then for the lamb burger, so it's come with I guess a minty sauce, because you smelt it and it definitely smells minty, but it's in I guess like a mayonnaise, which I've never had before. Oh my goodness, that is delicious. It's so tender but really, really tasty. And then the minty kick that you get from it, and the onions, a really, really nice touch in here. Oh, I'm so pleased I ordered this burger. The next thing that I'm trying are Menai Mussels. Now, the other day when we went across to Anglesey, we went to the Menai Bridge. The mussels are named that because they can be fished from underneath that bridge area and obviously in the waters. It's been cooked in a sort of creamy, garlicky sauce, and the size of some of these mussels are huge. So I've gone for one of the bigger ones. So let's go for it. That is delicious. I hate it when you get mussels and they're puny, but that's a great starter. I'm really pleased that I ordered the mussels. I'm quite happy to keep on digging in. So not necessarily a Welsh food, but we've struggled so much to find places that are serving food and drinks that are open that when we've come to this town, there is this really cute old caravan that's been converted into a coffee bar and an ice cream bar. So I've ended up going with an Affogato, which I know is very much Italian. It's vanilla ice cream with a shot of espresso, and it looks absolutely delicious. Oh my goodness, it's exactly how I was expecting it to be. You've got the sweetness of the vanilla ice cream and then the bitterness of the coffee, and they just complement one another so incredibly well. Not Welsh, but definitely pleased I've picked it up. So whilst I had the Welsh Cakes yesterday at the waterfall as part of a packed lunch, they were cold, and we've come along to this cafe after having hiked the mountain, and they had Welsh Cakes, which I have to say looked a lot nicer than the supermarket bought ones, and we were asked if we want them hot or cold. Given that I've already tried them cold, we've got these hot and the butter has just melted on them straight away. So whilst it's still warm, I'm going to dig in. Oh my goodness, that is delicious. So much nicer than the ones that we had yesterday that a supermarket made. And these are obviously very fresh, and you can just tell they're homemade. They've got that touch to it. Oh, I'm so pleased that I've come and tried some that aren't just out of a packet from a supermarket. Last but by no means least, the final Welsh food that I'm going to be trying is a cheddar cheese. But this cheese is quite special in that it's taken away from the creamery quite near Betws, and it's then stored in mining caverns, which have now become these cheese caves. The idea is that by storing them several hundred feet underground for that long, it helps with the maturing process, and it's been said to give a deeper flavour and a much mature taste. The particular pack that I've picked up has said that the maturity level is a number 5, which is not normally as far as what I would go with a cheddar cheese, and sadly I had hoped to pick up a really nice, quite fancy, perhaps wax covered cheese that was bought locally, but because we've been out hiking during the day, by the time we've managed to get back in the evenings, the only places that were open were big chain supermarkets. So sadly I have had to go with the Sainsbury's Taste the Difference one, but I do know that it's all being produced in Wales. So to get started, the first thing that I'm going to be eating is just the piece of cheese on its own. Crikey, that doesn't even smell like cheddar. It smells like something a lot stronger. Can't quite put my finger on what, but it's definitely not how I would expect cheddar to smell. Oh my goodness, that is delicious. Very, very strong. So if you like your mature cheddars, you will absolutely love this. I can understand what they're saying about that depth of the taste of it. That's crazy. When I was cutting into it, I could see how it was crumbling away. You know, when you get the mild cheddar and you cut into it, it just comes away as one slice and there's no crumbling with it. The more mature the cheddars tend to be, the more crumbly they tend to be. So just looking at it when I cut into it, I was expecting for it to be quite mature. But next thing that I'm going to do, I'm going to take another slice, and I do rather like my cheese and biscuits, so the next thing that I'm going to do is just try one, well, get attacked by a wasp. Next thing that I'm going to do is just try one with the cheese and biscuit. And that would be an excellent addition to go onto any kind of cheese board. I am really, really impressed with this cheddar. I'm not entirely sure how the process goes for normal cheddar and when they age it and mature it, but yeah, I think shoving it in an old mine cavern and turning them into cheese caverns is a wonderful idea because the results are excellent.